Good morning, crafters, and welcome to Creative Moments by G. I'm Georgia, and so happy that you are with us today. Oh my goodness, if you are watching us live, you know that it's Tuesday, June the 14th at 10 o'clock in the morning Mountain Time, because we're located in southern New Mexico. And we are just so very happy that you are going to jump on with us. Make sure when you do that you say hello in the chat room. Maudie is over there, my sister, and we go on this journey together and have so much fun. She just wants to chat with you and answer any questions that you might have. And so if you are watching the rebroadcast, well, we certainly welcome you. We appreciate you taking time from your busy schedule and watching us. We would love it if you would, after the video, leave us a comment. Let us know how we did. Did you like the cards? Which card did you like the best? That means so much to us. I can see that Phyllis is already here. And yay! Phyllis is here to watch us. And so we're just hoping that more people jump on and decide to chat. Because remember, today is a surprise patrol. We are going to select 2 winners at the end. And the way we randomly select names is you chat with us. Chat in the room. Also, give us a like and give us a share. We would certainly appreciate that. The more participation, the more chances you have to win. Now, today we are all about scraps. Scraps. Do you have scraps? Every time you cut your DSP, you end up with little strips of paper like this, and what to do with them? Well, we have, let me see here, 2, 4, 6 cards to show you at the end of different things you can do, because we know that you can put scraps all over the front of your card and it is quite beautiful. But we've done some different things with them today, so we think you're really going to like them. The other thing I want to remind you of is not this Thursday. We hope to see you this Thursday at 7 p.m. But next week, we are going to have our Zoom meet and greet. So make sure that you have signed up for that, because we will not be live next Thursday. We're going to see you this Thursday. And remember how to do that? All you have to do is go to our website and click on right underneath our picture, which is right here. You just click on this little button right here and it takes you to a contact form and you sign up for Zoom. And I know that's kind of late. You're going to be in your jammies. If you don't want to show your video and not make it available, that's fine with us. You don't have to do that. But we just want to sit and talk. We're going to make 2 cards. We have lots of prizes to give away. Gratitude gifts just in appreciation of you coming and chatting with us next Thursday. But today, let's get busy with our making of our cards using our scraps. So let's head down to the crafting table and let's get busy. Okay, now I'm not going to show you the cards until the very end. So let's just get busy making this card. The first thing you're going to do is you need to go ahead and get your base card. And your base card on an A2 is just a 5.5 by 8.5, scored at 4 1/4. But we're going to turn it this way. It's going to be landscape. Hey, Gray family. Happy that you're here with us. And now we just have some little pieces of paper that we've cut. This is the piece of paper that we're going to use to put our little scraps on. And this is the paper that we're going to put just like this. It really creates a very, very pretty card. So let's go ahead and just bring in our scraps. What I did is I just took some papers that we had and I cut all different sizes of little bitty pieces. Now we are going to take this and I'm going to use this grid paper and I'm simply going to line it up, because I do want my lines to go horizontal. Now, if you're worried about maybe they're not going to be exactly perfectly straight, you might want to do diagonal ones because it's very forgiving. You don't have to worry about it. But I think we can do it. So I'm going to go ahead and keep this paper. Now, I am going to turn it just a little bit so it fits my hand. And I'm just going to get some glue right here. And I'm going to start laying down those scraps of paper. Okay. Now I'm going to start with, I found some granny apple, so I'm just going to line that up right there. Make sure I'm right at the very edge and really get it. Now, this is the one that's very, very important. So you want to make sure that you really have it right at the top where you want it. So just go ahead and look at it and make sure it's right at the top. Okay. There we have it. Okay, now the next one, I'm going to go ahead and pick just a multicolor of DSP because we are using our base card of Tahitian Tide. Oh my goodness. Love that color. Such a pretty summer color. Now once again, I'm just going to make sure that it's pushed up. Just get it laid down. I'm going to come in with another color. And this is just the back side of that. That's what I like about this DSP, that you can use the front and the back. And once again, make sure you really push it up there. We want that to be straight. Now I'm going to bring in, I need to put down some more glue. And we have those 6 cards I was talking about. We have some very creative ways to use the scraps instead of just putting it all on the page. So let's go ahead and bring in a little more color. Bring in that DSP. Get it laid right at the top. Okay. You can also use tape runner. If you want, you could use an adhesive sheet to put on this little strip of paper. I'm going to bring in another green, and I'm going to bring in a little bit of that Tahitian blue so that it kind of matches our card just a little bit. And I need to move that over. Okay. Bring it up. There we have it. And remember, we're doing surprise patrol. So chat with Maudie, like, and share to have more chances to be selected, randomly selected. Now, I'm going to go ahead and put just a little strip there just because. Let's see if we can do that. Just a little strip right there. And I'm just going to get that, and then I can cut off the excess. Okay. Okay. Now, what we're going to do is, you want to make sure when you have glue all over these strips that you use some scissors that are just for that. Now these are coated, and so it won't stick to it, it won't ruin them. But I only use this to cut strips that have glue on them, so I don't have to worry about it. So on this one, we're just going to go ahead and cut just a little bit off the back. There we go. Now I'm going to cut this off. And I cut my strips, to match pretty much that little white piece of paper. Look at that. So now we have our strips. So let's put our card together. We are going to make 2 cards. Our next card is going to be a Sunburst. Ooh, is it pretty. Very pretty. Okay, so we have this. And now we want to stamp our sentiment on this little bitty strip right here. And I want to remind you that all the measurements will be listed today over on Creative Moments by G. So don't worry about taking them down. You can go to our website and you can click the shop button if you want to get any of the supplies that will be listed under the video. Or if you want the measurements, just click on blog and you'll be able to go to the blog and get the measurements. So something that we want to do is I want to go ahead and stand that up. So I went to a craft store and I bought some sheets of foam. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to cut this foam down to size. And I'm going to cut it a little smaller. And I'm going to do that because when you run it through your machine, your Boss or whatever embossing machine you have, it's going to squish it, right? And so you want to make sure that it's not the same size, because then you won't be able to glue it on. So this is simply 2 by 5.5. So I'm just going to do like maybe 1 7/8 just to make it a little smaller. What's so great about these foam sheets is you can just then rip it. I love that. And let's see, once again, that was 5 1/2. So I'm just going to do 1/8 before it. Gonna rip it. And now I can glue it on. And I don't have to worry about it. So we're just going to glue this right here. Now on this one, we're not running through anything, so you really don't have to worry about it. But a lot of times we do run ours through, and so you need to make sure that you do cut it a little smaller. Hey Susan. Hey Carol. So happy you guys are with us. And Dawn, I see Dawn is here. I don't know if y'all, and Glow is here. I don't know if some of y'all are over on Facebook, but Maudie knows. Yes, and she's telling me, yes, they are. Some of them are. Well, welcome our Facebook people. Okay, so here we have it. And I really like doing this because it helps it stand up. So what we need to do is we're going to put it just like this, and then our scrappy strip is going to go right underneath it. Oh my goodness, it's so pretty. But the first thing we need to do is go ahead and stamp our message. Now I'm going to bring in the Stamparatus only because I want to make sure we get it dark enough. So I'm going to lay this, make sure this is pushed all the way into the corner. I'm going to make sure this is pushed into the corner. I'm going to use my magnet. And now I'm just going to get this lined up exactly where I want it. I just want it right in the middle. And don't you love that big saying? That saying is from Simply Fabulous. They have some cute little flowers and then some fantastic sayings. I love big sayings. So here we go. We're just going to pick that up. And now I'm just going to use Memento. And another tip, if you don't have something like a lamp, I have a lamp over here. I can just set this on. You can always set it right on top of your stamp pad so that it doesn't fall down all the way. So we're just going to push that. And now see, I'm so glad I'm using the Stamparatus because it's really not as dark as I want it to be. So we're just going to push it again. I think we can get it just a little darker. I really like using the Stamparatus. Really helps you get, oh, there we have it. So pretty. And you don't have to worry about, you can't stamp over it, you know. You can't do that. It just doesn't work. So let's go ahead and let's lay this down right at the top of our paper, of our card. And we're just going to go ahead and put it right on the back of the foam. Just put some adhesive. And I'm trying to decide what is that or that. There's something in there that's, or this. Oh, I was thinking, what is that black thing in there? Hello, it's the ink pad. Okay. So let's just line this up right on the top of the card. And because we created that little lip where the foam is not as big, we can add this right underneath there with no problem. So there we have it. Because we're going to bring in our final strip and we're going to add it as well. And I'm going to add it also on foam to give it that height. Now you can use dimensionals, of course, but I think it's so easy to use the foam. Okay, we're just lining it up right here to make sure we get it straight. And just give it a good press. And now we're going to just, there we go. I'm going to make sure, we might need to cut just a little bit off. I'm using those special scissors. There we go. And I'm going to bring in this strip that we have embossed. Don't you love that? We used the Hive 3D embossing for this paper. So let's go ahead. We still have some scraps left of our foam. We're going to just get that cut and glue it on. And we will have the front of our card finished. And we know this is 5.5 and this is simply 1. So we need to cut it a little smaller, just by 1/8. Make sure it's straight. I love the way this foam just rips. So nice. And just take 1/8 off the end of it. And now we will simply add this to the front. Now, whenever you're working with a 3D embossing folder, you really need to make sure you get that glue deep into the crevices, right? Because there's really some deep crevices. And we love that because it makes it so very pretty. But, okay. So there we have it. I'm going to bring this in, and I'm simply going to add this to the bottom of the card. Oh, that Tahitian blue is just so pretty. Going to add some glue to the back of the foam. And because this is a white card, on the inside of the card, you can, if you want, add, you can mat it if you want, but it is white, and so that you don't add more bulk, you can just leave it white like this. Now look at that card, so pretty. But you know what? When I was thinking about this card, I thought, you know what? We need a little something more. So what I did is I cut out some of those cute little flowers in Sending Smiles. Oh my goodness, where's my Sending Smiles? This is one of my favorite stamp sets this year, Sending Smiles. I love the flowers. I haven't used these little flowers too much, but I do love them. So I'm going to go ahead and just put a few right here, and I'm going to use mini dimensionals. So let's just get those. And the other thing is, I'm just going to kind of scrunch them up just a little bit so they're not quite so flat. And then we're going to slip some of the leaves underneath it. Now, what's so great about these leaves is I didn't even have to color them. I have the DSP Happiness Abounds. Look at that. So pretty. I thought, wow, can I make it any easier on myself, right? And I'm all about that. I do like it to be easy and not real hard to make the card. So let's go ahead and just add a few little flowers right here. See if we can add one more. Oh, look at that. And now we're just going to add a few little leaves. You have to have leaves, right? Let's just get that right here. Let's put it right here. There we go. And then we'll add one down here. And boy, that will make it pop. And then you can always go back in and add something to the inside of your card, because we typically do not leave our cards empty on the inside. We stamp something. So I would come back in and stamp these little flowers on the inside. Just saying hello. Look at that. You have your card. You can create your envelope. So this is one way you can do your scraps. We all have scraps. Go ahead and cut those strips and you have it done. So I'm going to put this one right here so that you can see it. And now we're going to go ahead and move on to our next one. Oh my goodness. Remember I told you last time I bring my tray in so I have everything nice and organized. So I really like that. Now the two stamp sets we're going to be working with, we're going to use Cottage Rose because we're using one of the sentiments. And then we are also using the leaves in Happiness Abounds. So I think you're really going to like that. Now this one's a top fold card. So what you'll need to do is cut your paper 4 1/4 by 11, 4 1/4 by 11, and score it at 5 1/2 so that we have this top fold. And you're going to need to have another mat. So we have a mat right here, and then we're going to put another mat on it. And this is the mat that we're going to use for our Starburst. So let's go ahead and look at how we're going to do that. Now, once again, we picked our scraps, and from those little pieces of paper that we had, we went ahead and we just cut our strips. And our strips are 1.5 by 6. And what you need to do now is you simply take your strip of paper and you cut it diagonally. So you go from like the left corner to the right corner, making sure it's in the canal, close it, and cut. And so there we have one. We're going to go ahead and cut this one. We need a total of 8 pieces. We're going to put the top left and the bottom right, and then we're going to do just the opposite on our coordinating color that we have. So we have right here, we have 4 pieces here. We're going to move those to the side. And now look at this beautiful paper. This is just the back side of what I just cut. I love this granny apple, or party parakeet. This time we're going to cut from the right side because that gives it a fuller, and it really does make the Sunburst quite pretty. So we're going to cut from the opposite side, and that really does matter when you have paper that has a design on it. This one not so much because we don't have a design. So let's go ahead and bring this in. Now on this mat, we're going to have some circles down here. So it really doesn't matter what this looks like. So I don't want you to go, oh my goodness, what is she doing? Okay. So we're just going to make sure that we start right in the middle. We're going to go up a little bit, and then I'm going to put the point to this point down here. Now, remember I said it doesn't matter if it touches or if it looks a little sloppy down there. Does not matter. And now we're just going to go in with our glue, making sure that we try to center it right here, because that really will give you a good start if you get everything going in the right direction initially. Okay. And now I'm going to have a pattern. So I'm going to use my green, just like this. And we're just lining it up and moving our way around the card. Now, if you don't trust yourself to get it exactly straight and you want to try, when we were designing this, we used press and seal. That is so cool for really big designs. So we got it all laid out on a piece of paper the way we wanted it. And then we simply brought in our press and seal. And we laid it down, smushed it, picked it up, and everything was right where we needed it. And we just added glue to the back. And boom, we put it on our mat. So that is a really cool tip. If you've never used the Glad press and seal, that will hold these big kind of designs in place. Okay, and so now we're simply going to lay this one down. Going to add our glue to the back. And let's get that. Okay. Working our way now with our design again. And it goes right to the edge, so that's good. Just get that. We may not need all 8 pieces, but it's a good idea to go ahead and cut them, just in case. And also, depending on if you have the bigger triangles cut or the smaller ones, or if you even move it up and down, it's going to really change the placement. Like this one, we're going to need another green one right here. So that works out well. I'm going to go ahead and just get this laid down. And remember, we have 6 cards to show you at the end with some other creative things you can do with your little scraps, because we all want to know what to do with our scraps, right? Do you have any ideas How do you use your scraps? We would love to know. Do you do something different than what we're talking about doing? Okay, make sure. Oh, kind of stuck down. Now, that would not have happened had I used my silicone mat, right? I should have used, let me get it, my silicone mat right here. Will not stick to that. Okay, so now I need a little strip because I don't want any white to show. We're just going to go ahead and line that up right there. I need just a little bit, but just enough, right? Because my circle's not going to cover that up. So I'm just going to lay that down right there. And I'm going to show you, while this dries just a little bit, I'm going to show you the circles we're going to be working with. We're going to need 3 circles. And you can use any nesting circles that you have. We have stitched circles. We also have circles that aren't stitched. And it really depends on how big your message is. Now, when I've looked at this, my message is pretty big. Look at this beautiful. You are positively the greatest. And I'm going to go ahead and stamp this in Rich Razzleberry. And because part of it's going to be cut off, I'm going to go ahead and stamp it as close as I can to the right side, the edge. Hey, Mary, I'm just going to take a second. I don't know, and Melissa, I'm just seeing if I missed anybody else. So happy that you're with us. Okay, remember at the end, we are going to have Surprise Patrol. So let's go ahead and get this lined up as close to the edge as we can. Because like I said, part of it will be cut off. Oh, look at that. Don't you love that font? I love it when they have like Times Roman as the font and then they bring in a script. I just think that is so pretty. Love, love, love it. Now, let's go ahead and get this laid down on it. You can tell it's just a very little sliver, right, of color, just a hint of color, but it really does stand out. Really ties everything in together. So let's get that laid down. Let's get it right there. Okay. And on this one, we're going to go ahead and wait. So now we're going to flip this over, and using our scissors, remember, that are like coated with something so that it won't stick, we're just going to cut off the additional strips. You can put it in your trimmer, but I don't like to get my trimmer all messy, so I don't ever use my trimmer for this, but you could if you wanted to. If you have maybe a guillotine trimmer that you can get cleaned fairly easily. And we're just going to get this cut. Okay. And keep cutting. We have quite a bit to cut off. Okay, and now just this little bit of white. Just a tiny bit. There we go. Oh, and look at that. Oh my goodness. So pretty. Okay, so now we have our mat that we need to put down on our top fold. Go ahead and get that laid down. Make sure we get it right on the corners too. We don't want any corners lifting. Get that laid down centered. And this is just your typical first mat, 5 1/4 by 4. And then we are going to lay this down. Now the rays are going to go down, but you could put it like this if you wanted and put the circle right here. That's not a problem. You could do that. Okay. What I'm going to do is I'm going to get this laid down on my card first so that I can decide exactly where I want it and I can cut it off. So let's get some glue. We know we need it right on the top 2/3. Oh, let me use my silicone mat because we don't want it sticking to anything. And let's see, I need to make sure I have enough room. Okay, move it up just a little bit. Okay. And now we can put this right here and cut it off. I just want to make sure when I cut it off. Yes, perfect. Now I'm going to set this one up on dimensionals and I have some scraps. It's all about scraps today, right? We have scrap dimensionals, scraps that we're using to build our cards. Why? Because crafters, we don't throw away anything, right? Oh my goodness, that's so true. And let's just get this right lined up. And there we have it. Okay, and now we're simply going to cut this off. So here we have the bottom cut off. We're going to cut the side off. And now we are ready to put it down on the card. Oh yes, so very pretty. I am loving this. And you know, when we were looking at all our scraps, oh my goodness, every time you cut a card and then you want to use DSP for a mat, you're going to have some scraps that you can use to make a card just like this. But wait until you see the other ones that we want to show you. So pretty. Okay, now, once again, you can put another mat if you wanted to, but it's white, and so we're going to go ahead and leave it. But you could put the rich raspberry and then put another white on it. But look at that card. I'm loving that card. And then you come back in with some flowers, like these flowers, and you stamp the inside. And I think that would just really make it pop. Now, I want to show you the other cards that we have. Now, here is the one that we made earlier. Look at those colors. Really, isn't it all about picking the colors? Oh, yes. Hi, Diana. A 4th of July card with red, white, and blue. You know that would be pretty. Welcome, Cindy. Thank you for coming. Okay, now look at this. Maudie created this using our new little hippo stamp for her granddaughter. Isn't that just the cutest darn thing ever? Look at this little hippo. He has little hearts. Wishing you the happiest of birthdays. This set actually comes with the dies to cut out all these sentiments. It is so nice. And then you open it again, and of course we did the double matting with the happy birthday. But she's 7. She's going to be 7, so she's going to love that card. I know it. Okay, now I want to show you. On this one, this is like the card we made at first, but we went ahead and we put some strips right there, some more scraps, just to give it some interest right underneath our saying. And then we stamped our flowers on the inside, of course. Now, that was underneath the mats. This actually, we went ahead and we just embossed this whole piece of paper, and we just simply cut out a piece of white paper. We put the strips over it, and then look what we did. We cut into this panel, sending, so that it was completely cut through, and then we cut out a white one and we inlaid it white so that you know, you wouldn't see these bumps right here, but look at that. Oh my goodness, isn't that pretty? So we did a couple techniques here, you know, inlaying back into the negative space, but I think it really makes it pop. And now what if you wanted to do a window? And so now we've created a frame. We simply put all our scraps on this and recessed it and set this up on foam. Just so pretty. We love this one. Now, this will use a lot of scraps that you have, but we all have lots of scraps. And finally, I want to show you, oh my goodness, look at this one. We actually created a strip of paper with just scraps on it, and then we used our punch and we punched out our jars. You could punch out any shape that you wanted. Isn't that cute? Love it. So any shape that you have, the ladybug, butterflies, the jars, these bottles, I think those really, really look nice. And it's such a great way to use your scraps. And we would love to hear from people watching the rebroadcast after the video. Let us know, how do you use your scraps? Because we learn from you as well. But are we ready? We appreciate everybody watching us today. Are we ready for Surprise Patrol? Okay, we are going to spin the wheel, and let me see. I get to actually pick. Okay, here we go. And our first person is Melissa Becht. Yay, Melissa! Congratulations! If you will take just a moment and private message me, you could do the contact form on our website. That will work. Send me your address and we'll send you your little surprise gratitude gift. Congratulations. Okay, let me spin again one more time. Round and round we go. Isn't there a song, Round and Round? I think there's like a song. Song, song, song. Here we go. Here we go. It's taken a while. Okay. Here we go. Why does it take so long? Okay. And our next person is Lala's Crafts, who is Phyllis. Congratulations. Take a moment. Let us know your address. Go to our website. We certainly appreciate everybody's time. Yay! And we are so happy. Thank you so much for sharing your time with us. We want to remind you, we go live every Tuesday, Thursday. So we will see you this coming Thursday, hopefully at 7 p.m. We have a fantastic keepsake card that is easy to make, but it's just so pretty. And we know you're going to love it. And so we hope you join us. We want you to go out and make it a fantastic day. And we will see you Thursday night at 7 p.m. Bye-bye, everybody.